Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Unpopular K-pop opinions. Julie only apologized because their comeback flopping on SNS. What is SNS?
mm,
Hmm.
Five, six, seven.
One,
But
Kiss of Life's
anyway, the title is correct. That's the only reason she keeps apologizing.
Julie has addressed and apologized for her birthday live stream. So now Julie wants to talk? After KCON got cancelled, after the
okay.
numbers started.
So that's why she speaks on behalf of everyone? Because I didn't understand why she was the only one who spoke.
Yeah, you
Or-
you did make that comment. I think she only spoke because she's American English speaker. So because what's the point? Like, I mean, okay, we can do an apology if she's speaking and the other's three behind her and they're just
Yeah.
nodding. But like, I mean, because we see that kind of the same thing, and not saying that Les Seraphim did anything similar, but in Les Seraphim we see Jen speaking and the other girls just kind of nodding all the time, like whenever there's an English conversation. So it would be the same thing, Julie speaking and others just like
Because to me, it looked like she was just having a live because you saw comments and some hearts on it, and then she wanted to
brought it up,
address
yeah.
this because that was obviously, still what's going on for her. So I don't know if it was like the whole intention of that post was just only to apologize, or if she was talking about other things or engaging with her friends to kind of test the temperature.
Oh, that I don't know what's happening in that live.
Because
I
it was
just,
alive.
yeah, it was a live. I just only saw the snippet, that you guys posted on Discord.
Because I'm so curious of the context to know what was the conversation before and then after.
How it led up to that?
how we got to that
Yeah, I'm
as
not
a
sure.
talking point.
Started nosediving after international fans collectively side-eyed their comeback. Now she finds her voice? Cry me a river. This wasn't an apology. This was a last-minute fire drill in the middle of a comeback countdown. And yes, credit where it's due. She finally said the words Black and Latino with her whole chest, which by K-pop standards is unfortunately revolutionary. But baby, where was this energy a month ago? Where was this ownership when the scandal was fresh? When the outrage was raw?
I think so too, because we watched it. I watched it. It's just, I don't know. It kind of feels too little, too late. Maybe. I, I don't know. I
I
feel
think
like
she was testing the temperature because in someone in that live there was, you could see some comments. Some people were saying, "Oh, don't apologize,"
ignore
and
the
some
haters.
people
Yeah,
said,
so
call her racista.
Oh.
So it was like a mixed bag.
Yeah, I felt like it just wasn't hitting, right? I felt like the apology, I guess, wasn't bad, but it just something wasn't hitting right. And I was thinking about, I think just what wasn't hitting is that it's been like 2 months at this point. It's like, if you couldn't apologize the first two times correctly, at this point, too little, too late, I feel like. But on the other hand, I mean, should
The only thing, it did look like it was her apology because it doesn't look like this was a request from like the company to go. I don't know why. I
well,
don't
we
know.
don't know that.
Because that's the thing. I don't know what was the conversation in that live in general. And then on top of that, I don't know why this would be a conversation by herself, just her and not the group.
Again, I think because she's an English speaker, that's why.
When people were begging for acknowledgement instead of watching the group serve up hollow PR scripted apologies that said absolutely nothing with 4 paragraphs of nothing. Instead of standing up then, y'all were out here giggling through concerts like y'all hadn't just played dress up with people's cultures for fun. Julie said in the live that she wanted to wait until the other members' birthdays were over before apologizing. Excuse me? That has to be one of the most unserious statements I've ever heard.
That was so weird.
that was a little
It's
awkward.
like, oh, I don't want them to like be distracted, enjoy their moment, and not deal with the drama. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
That's crazy.
What was also weird in that live for me, there was like a moment where it was like just quiet.
She was reading the comments.
I guess I figured she was
She
reading
was
the
really
comments,
reading the temperature.
but it just felt a little awkward.
Heard in my life. People are calling you out for racial insensitivity and your response is basically hold up. It's Natty's special day? Like sorry Black and Latino fans, your trauma's gotta wait. We've got a balloon garland to pose in front of. Let's talk about the apology itself because it was giving PR filtered with a side of vague regret. Yes, she addressed the communities that were hurt. Good,
okay,
necessary.
that point, yeah, I forgot about that. That doesn't sound good whatsoever. You're still not taking the situation seriously if you're still worried about every other thing except for this.
overdue, but she never said what the heck they actually did. No naming the behavior, no accountability beyond we made a mistake and we hurt people. Girl, this isn't a breakup letter. This is a public apology for perpetuating anti-black and anti-Latino stereotypes.
It's
You
just,
don't get
you
to
know,
handwave the
for
entire
me, I'm not waiting for those girls to give an apology. Me personally, to me, I feel like they already showed themselves. So now in the future, if you see them, do content that's related to the Black and Latino culture, it's like I look at those girls even more sideways because they have no understanding whatsoever. And for them, it's just, they pick and choose what they want to do. And I don't know if it comes across as genuine or what the company wants of them.
scandal is just wrong actions. Say it with your whole chest. What y'all did was culturally offensive, racially insensitive, and loaded with imagery and performance tropes that carry real life trauma. Say that. And let's not pretend this was some solo crime. Julie's the face of the apology, sure, but where is Miss Lil Taco Bell in all this? Where's Natty? Where's Hanul?
Wow.
They were right there in the live, putting on the same outfits, mimicking the same behaviors, laughing along with the same mess, yet when it's time to eat the consequences, they're hiding behind Julie. I don't care if she's the leader. Why should she be the only one taking public heat when they all participated? The accountability shouldn't stop at the one who picked up the theme. It should include the entire lineup in the company. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. There were stylists, managers, brand handlers, grown adults in the room who looked at this and said, yes, stream it, go live. You can't convince me nobody on staff knew this wasn't going to age like
Kiss of Life is not big enough for people to accept this embarrassment to put it under the rug. They're not that small, so they can, if they keep trying, maybe they can move past this controversy, but it's gonna be very difficult. I don't think anyone wants like a group like this to represent, K-pop and have that association, because I do think K-pop is trying to, clean up the image and how they deal with like these kind of situations, because it would be best if they don't associate, so people don't look at K-pop in a way that, oh, they're just this and that.
I think for me, it's as you said, they're just not big or maybe just good enough for me to really care. So it's like they did what they did already. They weren't all that good to begin with. They had one good song, but it's whatever. I'm over it. I don't really care for them anymore. If they were like a bigger, like let's say Blackpink, they apologize. Okay, you can give him a second chance.
Oh
Because
no, that's not what I'm thinking.
no, but I'm saying if Blackpink actually apologized, then you can give him a second chance because they do make good music. They have good songs. Oh, but the Kiss of Life, it's just nothing there in that group to after the scandal like that to continue following it. It's just group is just not that.
Boiled milk. And let's not ignore the fact that this is all happening 1 week before their comeback. Suddenly, there's time for a heartfelt apology on a live stream? After a month of radio silence, now it's urgent? That timing isn't sincere, it's strategy. It's not we've reflected. It's we saw the K-Con slot disappear and our Spotify projections flatline. The apology would have hit differently if it came when people were still hurt. Not when the label started panicking over digital sales and pre-order numbers. Even worse are the fans in her live stream comments acting like this was her moment to strike a pose or speak Chinese mid-apology. Julie, do a heart. Julie, say my name. Don't apologize, be so freaking real. The girls trying to take some kind of accountability for a massive cultural screw-up and y'all are treating it like a fan meet. And let's talk about the don't apologize crowd, the one saying it's okay queen. You didn't do anything wrong, you are not helping, the delusion, the enabling, the gaslighting of entire communities so your bias doesn't have to sit in her mistake for even 5 seconds. Disgusting. It's the fan base that always manages to make everything 10 times worse. Let's also not forget, Julie already had a pre-debut controversy for saying the N-word, and now months later, she's center stage in a racist spectacle again. This isn't just one slip-up, it's a pattern, and patterns don't get erased with a sad voice and a teary live stream. If
I didn't know
K-Con hadn't
that.
cut them, if fans hadn't boycotted,
I feel like we may have heard it, but honestly, as I said, the group is kind of irrelevant, so I'll probably erase that memory. But I don't remember, but it feels vaguely familiar, but it's like, who cares at this point?
if the comeback teasers weren't tanking on social media, this apology wouldn't exist. You don't get to erase a community's pain with a PR stunt disguised as personal growth. You had weeks to make this right, and instead you let the heat die down before stepping out with "We're learning, baby, we already learned." You didn't care until the money was on the line. So no, I'm not clapping for this apology. I'm not throwing confetti for finally doing what should have been done the next day after the live. I'm not patting anyone on the back for owning up when it's too little too late. And too calculated to feel real. Julie might be trying now, and that's better than nothing, but nothing about this reads genuine.
So I wonder
Two,
how it's going with the collabs people have, like Baekhyun, you know, that was coming out recently. So I wonder if that's the reason why she's also testing the
I
temperature.
think it could be that maybe Baekhyun's team is like, okay, you guys need to, if you wanted to continue with this, you got to fix the situation, you know, something like that. I don't know.
Well, if any NewJeans member does an entertainment activity without a door's permission, they get slapped with a 1 billion won fine per activity. That's $725,000 each time they so much as blink without Hybe's approval. The fine only applies to future gigs, not anything they did between the court order and this ruling. But unless something changes at the next hearing on June 5th, NewJeans is toast. Y'all signed a contract, violated the contract, got warned by a judge and still had the audacity to put on your little complex con outfits like the court was a suggestion. The delusion was marinated, deep fried and served with a defamation lawsuit on the side. Now you owe 1 billion Korean wons per member per violation. That's 5 billion Korean wons before breakfast, and that's not even the full menu.
With Verizon, you could save big on all your favorite entertainment. Whoa! Careful now, that's gonna...
Throw in A-Door's legal fees, contract termination damages, and whatever demonic interest rate the court decides to slap on for the sheer stupidity of it all. And suddenly cool with you starts to sound like a funeral dirge, but I still see bunnies foaming at the mouth like they're still gonna win the appeal. Appeal what? The verdict? The reality? The shared delusion that contract law is a mood board? This isn't Build-A-Bear Litigation Center. You don't get to customize your consequences because you think being pretty and underage makes you untouchable. This is civil court, not a pen show a post. What really ends me though is the brain-dead confidence from the NewJeans side these past months, the absolute smugness of it all. You're not a lawyer. Min Hee-jin has a plan. Meanwhile the girls are out here breaking injunctions like they're clocking attendance at Coachella. And now the bill is due. And suddenly it's they're young. They didn't know better. No, they knew. And if they didn't, the adults around them definitely did, and they let it happen anyway. The only victim here is common sense. 3. Median CEO might have stepped.
Well, with NewJeans, I'm curious to say, okay, how long do you think by the end of the year we're gonna have a resolution?
Well, the next court date is what, on the 5th? So this week should hear something, an update. I don't know.
Because I want to see the end of this. This is like a long case. Like, my goodness.
I don't think we're gonna see the end soon because, you know, court cases generally take a long time. It's just, I feel like, you know, people keep milking it. Like this whole update about the fine. I mean, I guess it's a new update. I don't exactly understand why we're getting a new update about like why there was a new, oh, now it's gonna be a fine. Like, I mean, this was already established. They can't do nothing. So I'm a little confused why this is happening, but nothing has really changed. They couldn't do nothing before the fine. They can't do nothing now with the fine. And again, if they do something, Hybe is not gonna do anything about it because they can't, because they have to put up face. Of course, they're gonna, you know, every violation they're gonna mark it in case, you know, if eventually they do split, and they're gonna charge them for it. But in the meantime, it's not, doesn't really change nothing. So talking about it, like I've said everything I have to say.
I wonder if they still have any hope that they can get like a positive result,
I think they do.
or because at some point you have to really evaluate, okay, if we still want to do this, maybe it's good to just go back. But if they see that at the end of this there's potentially going to be a label that will be there for them to restart and get their career off the ground again, I don't know.
I think the moment they realize, okay, we're fucked, they're gonna go back to them. I think they haven't hit that moment yet. I think they're still hopeful. You know, somebody's in their ear, whether it's Min Hee-jin or, you know, the parents or the lawyers, because, you know, the lawyers also getting paid, so the lawyers also feel like, oh no, we got this, you know, because they're getting paid. So, I think the moment the reality hits, they're gonna go back. It's just,
That's what I think too as well.
you know,
I'm waiting to see when is that moment for them.
is that gonna be too little, too late?
I don't think so.
You,
I
I
don't
do
think
feel
so.
like Hive would accept them at any moment in
Yeah.
time. They were the big money, but however, is their music gonna be as popular when they come, if they were to come back though? Because the thing in K-pop, you kind of people move on to new groups, and it's just all
Well,
groups get forgotten all the time. Yeah, can they get to the same peak as they used to?
I haven't seen a group that has replaced them yet in what they offer. But then again, they
Kiki,
can.
do you love me? Is you
But
riding?
I think then again, also time is passing, and maybe they want to
Right.
change their vibes too. They probably
Could
don't
be,
want to
yeah.
go to that old vibe.
Stepped down, but it's too little too late. So don't pop the champagne just yet. The company's apology statement is one of the most manipulative gaslighting self
Do we need to have a too little too late counter in this video? Because I said it twice. He said it twice already. Might as well keep a counter.
pitying PR disasters I've read in a long time. This isn't accountability. This is a coward abuser slipping out the back door while spinning his own downfall into a sob story. Let's start with the wording. Due to ongoing speculation and criticism without evidence? I'm sorry, what evidence are you missing? Survivors spoke, staff testified, patterns were exposed, but sure, let's pretend this
I mean, but once again, so do we expect him to come step down and say, "Yeah, I'm guilty, kill me"? Like what? No, of course he's gonna say, "Okay, I stepped down, but I didn't do nothing." That's gonna be the story until it's proven in the criminal justice system that he did do something. So, ain't no way this is the same.
But stepping down is a sign that okay, he's aware that he's not in favor in the
Yes,
public
it's
and in the company too as well. That if he wants to maintain this company, he cannot be close to association.
this is a good move by the company. Now maybe we can actually start following Maiden because
I don't know. It depends how if he's getting money, if he's getting
right,
paid.
yeah.
So people may not want to support still.
Yeah, we'll have to see the details, not all. But it's just the K-pop spy. She's talking as if she did the same thing with the guy from the documentary. I don't remember his name right now. The SM guy. She also was like, "Oh, he didn't admit to not." It's like
Lee.
Lee something, yeah, Lee Suman. I think Lee Suman. There you go. It's just like, come on, people are not gonna admit to their wrongdoings. Like that doesn't happen. Like you have to prove that in court. If you admit it, then
Also, a lot of people have ego.
yeah. So it's like, why would we expect them to admit it?
This man is stepping down because of baseless rumors and not because he's been publicly dragged for months for being a manipulative, abusive, power-hungry creep who treated his minor rookies like disposable props, if anything. The only thing missing is a freaking arrest warrant, and don't think for a second that the company gets to distance themselves here. No, no, no. They stood by him, protected him, and let him run the place. The rot didn't start and end with the CEO. It festered through every executive that enabled him, and now they want to act like this is a difficult decision made to protect the artists? Man, shut the F up. You are the reason the artists need protecting. That statement didn't read like a company taking responsibility. It read like a breakup text from a narcissist who still thinks he's the victim. It's giving "I'm sorry you felt hurt" energy. The fact that they tried to frame this like he's making some noble sacrifice for the team instead of being forced to get the F out after irreparable damage tells me everything I need to know. This man is not gone. He's in the back room. Stepping down is not justice. Jail is justice. A criminal trial is justice. 4. Attrakt has lost another lawsuit. Kina accused the CEO of the Givers of forging her signature on copyright documents for their song Cupid, despite presenting a recording where the Givers allegedly admitted Kina didn't sign it. The court dismissed the case, citing insufficient evidence. The police concluded that due to a service contract between the Givers and Kina's agency Attrakt, the CEO of the Givers had broad administrative authority, including signing documents on behalf of the members. Attrakt has failed in every possible way. Kina is already on indefinite hiatus.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. What kind of standard is that? That makes absolutely no sense to my brain over here in America.
From
I'm
group
thinking
activities.
like, okay, who even okay, so she's not underage. But did she give power of attorney to allow the company to sign things on her behalf?
Sounds like it.
That's wild. But
That's what it
okay.
sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me. But they're not saying it like that. That's my issue.
Terminology could be different than over there.
Because of her PTSD, this news will crush her further. Attrakt really looked at the Givers and said, "Here, take full control of everything we own, including the right to sign deals for our artists, our souls, and probably our office microwave." Like, did no one at Attrakt read the contract? Did they
that's
sign
a
it with a
slave
glitter pen
contract.
while watching?
Because
That's not like a slave contract. You gave power of attorney. It sounds like
it does sound like, I mean, because otherwise the court would, I don't think court would, somebody bribe the court to side with them. I don't think the Givers bribe the court. I think if they really signed all the rights away, which is like unfortunate, but if they actually signed those contracts, then like it is what it is.
yeah.
Penthouse
At
on mute.
that
Because of the
point,
contract Attrakt themselves signed, the Givers legally had the power to sign on behalf of Kina. No extra paperwork, no warning, no consent needed. And now Attrakt is stomping around claiming fraud? Baby, that's not fraud. That's you being dumb as heck. So now Kina's whole claim of being
Sounds like it, yeah. Like if you sign those type of paperwork, it's just dumb as fuck. Not
But
nothing
but
else.
who was there at the beginning to advise them to sign something like this? Did they read? Who read this?
I don't know.
Someone
Blindsided by
failed
this
them.
Yeah.
contract maneuver doesn't hold up. Because the Givers technically had the legal power to do what they did because Attrakt handed it to them on a freaking silver platter. Her consent? Legally irrelevant. And yes, it sucks. It's shady. It's exploitative. But unfortunately, it's contractually clean. The devil didn't even have to lie. He just read the fine print Attrakt didn't bother looking at. What did they think was going to happen? You can't just yeet your administrative control to another.
And I think honestly, this is a good example of the reality because a lot of times, like in this K-pop world, you guys kind of live like in a fantasy land a little bit, but this is the cold reality right here. This lawsuit.
You know what I think but it coming out to the public influence can happen. Like this, it sounds like a lot of people may not be happy or agree with, or may want to even support. So what's gonna happen if the public sided with the girls?
I don't
They're
think
not gonna
so.
support, the music
I don't think
because you're
so.
supporting, pretty much the machine in controlling these girls.
I think this is in the West that might happen, but in Korea, what we're seeing, it's very strict society. They believe in the rule of law to the letter. So if that's what the law says, if that's what you did, that's what you get.
I
So
don't know if these girls getting paid.
it's
Remember that group that said that we're not getting paid?
yeah, I will
That
go.
intentionally the company may be like on purpose keeping them in
Yeah, yeah.
debt. This may be
I
something
mean, I
similar.
was saying that in that reaction that it is possible that this is just how it's set up and it's legal.
Wow.
So that's just the harsh. And I'm mostly talking to bunnies over here because you bunnies guys, you kind of, if
How
any
do
of y'all
they
still
sign
watch over,
something like
y'all
that?
live in a little delusion world where like, oh, the girls, they don't
I
feel
don't feel
good,
like
so we're
people are
gonna
like that.
no
I
bunnies.
I haven't seen like comments like that.
Well,
Like
how can
bunnies.
you? Okay, how can you? Well, I think bunnies don't watch our videos because we kind of drag the new jeans, But
I don't feel like we drag them. I think we say
to
what's
them, we drag them
wrong.
because we don't support them. But I'm just saying, like, this is the cold, harsh truth that no matter how unfair new jeans might feel, if this is the law of the contract, this is what it is. The same here, like seems very
But
mind-boggling, but if they sign
mm,
those rights over, well, this is the harsh truth.
well, but I don't think this is like similar to NewJeans because we ever heard claims. Oh, they sign stuff under our
No,
behalf.
I'm more so in talking about what is like the human right thing to do versus what is the legal thing to
Mm.
do. Because in New Jeans case, I can see like in a human case, you can side with New Jeans for the humanity aspect, but in the reality aspect, the contract law aspect, there's no way anybody could side with New Jeans. So this is the same thing here.
Other company and then be
I
shocked because
disagree.
About what?
I don't know what human part of NewJeans complaint is valid.
They signed the contract when they were too young. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into. I can fuck with that. Legally, not really, but
But then
from human empathy
their
aspect, yeah.
complaint should be with their parents.
Well, I'm sure they talk with their parents about what they're gonna sue their parents over this.
You
No.
could.
Well, one of them is not even underage. I mean, it's not illegal. So, I'm just saying, like, from the humanity aspect, I can see, you can side with New Jeans, but legally, it is what it is.
you when they start making big money moves without you. It's giving I didn't think it'd go this far energy. Attract literally did the legal equivalent of selling their group for a coupon and a handshake and then tried to play victim when it blew up in their face. And of course, who loses the most in this mess? The idols, always the idols. Kina's name is being dragged. The Bloom girls might get adopted by Minheejin, and the givers walk away technically in the clear. 5. The SM Town concert in London just switched venues, and SM is out here claiming it's to enhance the viewing experience for all seats or some other fairy tale. But I'm not buying it. Originally, it was set for the Allianz Stadium Twickenham, which can pack in 55K for non-sporting events. Now, they downgraded to the O2 Arena, which maxes out at 20K. SM saying the new venue is weatherproof is diabolically stupid. It's obvious this is damage control because tickets were collecting digital dust.
O2 Arena is a big arena. Like, it's a big name. I know O2 Arena. I don't even know the other name, so.
But what about the fact that how many seats?
I understand that, but what I'm saying is performing in O2 Arena is still, I heard of, like, it's a famous arena. It's not exactly like a shame to perform in O2 Arena. We're not talking about, we're performing at Dolby Theater. Like, like it's O2 Arena. Come on.
Whoever greenlit that stadium in the first place needs a reality check. You thought people were going to cough up rent money to watch a glorified SM rookie showcase? Think again. And it's not like the demand wasn't there years ago. If SM had rolled into Europe with SM Town between 2015 and 2019, when EXO, SNSD, Shiny, FX and Red Velvet were actually showing up with full lineups, they would have printed money.
I'm not mad at them switching venues. I think,
That's a good decision. Yeah.
they made a decision that was best for them. They did it in advance so that, people can prepare
Yeah.
themselves. So I'm not mad at And they say it's probably like much more weatherproof.
I,
Okay.
I don't think we should drag them for that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're being self-aware. Okay, we're not selling as much, so we have to downgrade. So like, why is this? We should drag them for it. Like,
Yeah,
they're
because
making appropriate decision. I don't feel like that's something to drag them
because
for.
even if they were not gonna sell out the larger venue, for them they would take a financial loss and you will not see another SM event in a long time, or maybe in London, period. Then people are going to complain, why they don't come to London?
Oh,
Well, they went
right,
last
yeah.
time and they didn't, make a
Yeah.
full profit,
Mm-hmm.
and they incur a loss, so they have to reevaluate things. But here they are being very proactive and being very mindful that they want to have a successful event that offers the best experience for the people who are coming to see it, and they made these moves, so I'm not
Yeah.
judging.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.